Shalom, shalom. We're the Hebrew Israelites coming in week in and week out to prophesy the downfall of this wicked kingdom. And as always, we want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Mukakodash. Double honors to our teachers, the head apostles, and elders of great millstones who rule well. And I want to say shalom to the sincere brethren that are constantly pushing this word out. All right, so the Akia, we just wanted to get into a quick lesson concerning the Cunningly devised fable on the virgin birth, because what Christianity teaches us is that Mary had a wife, Mary had a son with what she just got pregnant, she just got pregnant just like that, or it was an angel, but it was actually she actually conceived a child through what? Sexual intercourse, and that's what we really wanted to get into, so we're gonna back that up. Gonna start off with the book of Matthew.
Matthew 22 and 28. Therefore in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the seven? For they all had her. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Ye do err, not knowing the scriptures.
A lot of Christians actually do err, not knowing the scriptures, because the spirit of Yahushua is not dealing, it's not working with them, because to understand the scriptures, you need the spirit of Yahushua to be dealing with you,
Ye do err, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of the Most High.
Right, because the scriptures are powerful, man. What does pursuant to what? Hebrews the 4th chapter and the 12th verse. Scriptures are sharper than any two-edged sword, roughly paraphrasing, piercing even through the... Actually, we can get that. I'm gonna get that real quick. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 4 and verse 12. For the word of the Most High is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even the dividing asunder of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrow. And it's a discerner of thoughts and intents of the heart. So that goes to show the power of the word, which we know is Yahushua. All right.
Matthew 22 and 30. For in the resurrection, they neither marry.
And who's that they? That's talking about the angels, the celestial bodies. All right. Because with the Christianity, some that fable, Mary had sex with an angel and she had, but what the scriptures tell us,
For in the resurrection, they neither marry.
And what's marriage? Marriage is sex. All right.
Nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of Yahweh in heaven.
So angels, they don't have sex with human beings, with terrestrial bodies, and to back that up, we can actually get that in 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter and the 39 verse.
1 Corinthians 15 and 39. All flesh is Salakia. All flesh is not the same flesh.
Right.
But there is one kind of flesh of men, another of beasts, another of fishes, another of birds.
Right. So it's going into separation. Because I remember at a camp not too long ago, a guy had came up and he said that all flesh is the same. He said we're the same with animals, and a lot of people often say when we get reincarnated, we can come back as an animal. Well, reincarnation is actually biblical, but you don't come back as as an animal. You come back as a human. Read that again from the top.
1 Corinthians 15 and 39. All flesh is not the same flesh.
Right, all flesh is not the same flesh. Yeah, go on.
But there is one Salakia. But there is one kind of flesh of man, another flesh of beasts, another of fishes, and another of birds.
That's your separation right there, Go on.
If I may add, scriptures say the Most High is not an author of confusion.
That's right. Come. Yeah.
It goes on, verse 40. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. But the glory of the celestial, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another.
Right. So if you go into that word celestial, it's heavenly. You can actually grab that real quick. And I'm gonna grab the terrestrial. You know, because celestial bodies are what? The heavenly bodies, you know? The angels, if you will, the angels. And terrestrial is actually the bodies that we have right now, the flesh, you know? You got that? In the blue letter?
This is celestial in the blue letter. So and it reads celestial, existing in heaven, things that take place in heaven,
right?
The heavenly regions,
you know, so that's heavenly. That's heavenly, bro. Right?
Or another one says the heavenly temple is sanctuary.
Different, yeah. It's different from the planet Earth, man. It's heavenly. It's not from here.
You know?
So how can something that's not from here, you know? I wouldn't. Come on, bro. And then
so like if I may add, also temple, you know, sanctuary. You know, and sometimes in the scriptures when it refers to temple or sanctuary, they're referring to it as your body.
Yeah, right, know? Exactly. Yeah.
Your body's your temple, you know? Take care of, you know?
There's a precept that says, defile not your temple.
You know? So, you know, it says the heavenly temple is sanctuary. You know?
That's right.
Terrestrial?
Yeah, terrestrial. Baba Kusha.
Terrestrial, it says existing upon the earth, earthly, terrestrial.
So what? That's talking about these bodies. You know, the body you have here on earth. These are terrestrial. You know, so you had wanted the. So going back into the point that we wanted to get was what? Angels don't have sex with terrestrial bodies because could you read that again, Baba Kashaw? We actually missed
a 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 40. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. But the glory of the celestial is one.
Right, so the glory of the celestial is one. What's the glory of the celestial? They don't go off. They don't sin, you know? And then go on.
And the glory of the terrestrial is another.
Okay, the glory, celestial, also they have power. You know what I mean? That's their glory too. They have power, you know? And read that again, Babu Kasha.
But the glory of the celestial is one. And the glory of the terrestrial is another.
Right, that's your separation right there. The terrestrial, the celestial and the terrestrial are two. They have two different glory. So what's the glory of the terrestrial, which is the bodies on earth, is what we actually go off. We sin, and what we enjoy fleshly things like what having sex. Sexual intercourse is actually one of the things we enjoy. That's a glory of what the terrestrial body. You know, so.
Producing seed, you know, giving seed.
Yeah, So yeah, there was actually a seed that was planted in what? In Mary by Joseph. To her, for her, that's how she conceived the child. It wasn't by the magical, you know what I mean? Yeah, it wasn't magical.
Let me get that for you. Angel.
Let me get that for you. I got it. Break it down. Was it at
Luke 2?
Luke 2 and
21.
This is the book of St. Luke chapter 2 and verse 21. And when 8 days were accomplished for the circumcising of the child, his name was called Yahweh, which was so named of the angel before he was conceived in the womb.
You know? So basically, you know, it's saying that, well, if you go back to Leviticus, you know, actually, get that,
I'm glad that for you.
Leviticus 12:1.
Yeah.
Well, if you go back to the Leviticus, with the law of Moses, when the Most High gave the laws to Moses to give it to the children of Israel, you know, and basically here it's talking about how Yahweh got circumcised, you know, on the 8th day, you know, and if you go into, you know.
This is the book of Leviticus chapter 12 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a woman have conceived seed and born a man child, then shall she be unclean 7 days, according to the days of the separation, for her infirmity shall she be unclean. And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised.
You see? So in the Leviticus, 7 days she's unclean, and on the 8th day, they circumcise the child. And then here in Luke, what you read, you know?
Going back, Luke chapter 2 and 21. And when 8 days were accomplished.
You see? 8 days were accomplished. So on the 8th day, they cut the foreskin.
Right.
You know? And also, if you go back to Salaki, if you go back to Leviticus 12
and 2, and it says, "Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived seed, and
so conceive, and if you go to that word conceive, you know, I'm gonna get that, you know, it means getting pregnant, being pregnant, and in order for you to get pregnant, you have to do what? Have sex.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Let me get that right quick. The conceive, you know. Slovakia, conceive. So conceive in the regular Google definition, it says become pregnant with child. You know.
And it also says seed. What's seed? Sperm. You know?
Yeah, and a woman doesn't have a seed. You know? They receive the seed from the man. You know?
I'm gonna read that again, Salakia. Leviticus 12 and 2. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived seed and born a man child, then shall she be unclean 7 days, according to the days of the separation. For her infirmity shall she be unclean.
Okay, then go back to the Luke 22.
Luke chapter 2 and verse 22. And when the days of her purification, according to the law of Moses.
You see? According to the law of Moses. And we went into that in the Leviticus, you know? And that was the law of Moses for the purification. We just read that. So she kept those laws.
Right.
So that means if you kept those laws, that means you have to get pregnant.
Right.
In order for you to get pregnant, you have to have sex.
Right.
You know?
There you go. Verse 22. And when the days of her purification according to the law of Moses were accomplished, they brought him to Jerusalem. Who's that him?
And also, if you go back to Leviticus, you know, it's gonna go back to that. I think if you read on from the 2.
I'm gonna start at 3. Verse 3. Leviticus 12 and 3. And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised, and she shall then continue and she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 33 days, and she shall touch no hallowed thing.
You see, so you're basically 7 days plus the 33 days you're unclean, and then that means in that period of time you can't go to the sanctuary, no touch any holy thing or halal thing. And if when what we just read in the Luke, you know, she went to Jerusalem after that, those days were fulfilled. You know, that means she went into the sanctuary to present Yahweh Shai in the temple, and she couldn't go before because she had to keep the laws of Moses.
And she she had intercourse. You know what I mean?
You know,
I'm gonna read on, and it says, "Nor come into the sanctuary." You know, until the days of her purifying be fulfilled.
And Mary kept those laws, so that means she had to be pregnant. You know, but that was it on that. You know,
going back to
we'll go to the.
That was it on
the
Leviticus. That was it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna give you a couple more accounts of the virgin births and the word virgin. That word virgin, because when you go into the in the blue letter on the word virgin, that word virgin means of a marriageable age, a woman of a marriageable age. You know, we can get that in. Let's start at
Luke.
Yeah,
1.
Con.
Luke 1 and 27. To a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph.
There's two key words that are there, of the word virgin and espoused. You know, can get that in the blue letter, Baba Kashad.
Con.
Luke 1 and 27. Con, I got it. That word, yeah, con. This that word virgin in Luke 1 and 27.
Strong's G 3933. Parthenos.
Con.
Parthenos.
That's in the Greek, huh?
Yeah, con. That's in the Greek, and it says a marriageable maiden, a woman who has never had sexual intercourse with a man. You know, so what? So there was a virgin that was espoused to Joseph. That word virgin means a woman. Yeah, a young woman, because when the flower of her age, or when a woman passes the flower of her age, it's 12 years old, around 12, 13, you know? So they're young, you know? So a young woman that's of a marriageable age was espoused to, that word espoused, you got it? Espoused to.
Espouse in the blue letter. And it reads, to woo her or ask her in marriage, to be promised in marriage.
So a young virgin promised to who? To Joseph. You know? So you can go back to that Luke Baba Kasha.
And also, if I may add, that word virgin, you know, if you go back, there's two definitions in the Hebrew. You know,
Bethwala. You can get Bethwala.
Yeah, Bethwala and Alma.
Alma, yeah.
Alma. And Bethwala basically means an untouched virgin. You know, so she never got touched sexually. You know,
unspotted.
Unspotted. She's clean. She's not blemished. You know.
Pure. You can see pure.
She's pure. And then the other one, Alma, is basically a woman that's a marriageable age. You know. And right here, you know, it's talking about Alma,
which is what? Of a marriageable age, a young, you know.
I'm gonna read that again. Luke 1 and 27. To a virgin,
a young woman of a marriageable age,
espoused
to, promised to,
a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary.
The what? The untouched. Yeah, I mean, her name was Mary, bro. She was pure, if you will, pure and clean, unspotted, untouched. You know, and that was her name. You can actually go on that app. Just finish it to verse 31.
Verse 28. And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, thou that art.
Alright, Salakia, just some technical difficulties, you know what I mean? Same time, you know what I mean? Handle the word. But anyways, yeah, continuing on the St. Luke, the first chapter.
Luke 1 and 28. And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, thou art highly favored, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women.
So this is Mary being told that she's going to conceive who? Yahweh Shai, you know? Alright,
verse 29. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. Verse 30. And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with the Most High. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yahweh Shai.
Shall call his name Yahweh Shai. And that child was what? Conceived through what? The pleasure of sleep. Mary had, she had sex with Joseph, and Joseph planted the seed in her. Planted the seed in what? Yahweh Shai was born.
He said,
in the time of what? Was it in the time of life? Which is what, 10 months. We can actually grab that account, just flow into it. You got it?
Yeah, Wisdom of Solomon.
Yeah, yes. Black News December chapter 4.
Yeah,
It was?
Yeah. Wisdom to the point where it's
from the top. And we know who wrote the book of Wisdom of Solomon. It was Solomon, man. And if you can receive it, Solomon's actually Yahweh Shai.
In the spirit.
So it's gonna tell us how everybody comes into the world, with the pleasure of sleep, you're fashioned in the womb 10 months, and then you're brought forth that breath,
Come.
Go on.
Come. Wisdom of Solomon 7 and verse 1.
Come.
I myself also am a mortal man.
That's Solomon talking, Go on. Book it,
Like to all and Salakia, like to all and the offspring of him that was first made of the earth.
Come.
And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months.
10 months, Because when you're in your mother's womb, how long is it? Oh, now modern days like 9 months. But we know, the time and Esau corrupted it, but
Con. Being compacted in blood and of the seed of man and the pleasure that came with sleep.
Right. The only way you can come into this world is what? Through that pleasure of sleep and that seed being planted in the woman. And then that flesh inside, all those, which is a marvelous work of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. How can I, Khan, go on.
Khan, verse 3. And when I was born, I drew in the common air and fell upon the earth, which is of like nature, and the first voice which I uttered was crying, and Salakia, as all others do.
Khan, there's a bit more?
Khan.
Okay.
I was nourished in swaddling clothes and Salakia, and with care. This is the point.
Khan.
Verse 5. For there is no king that had any other beginning of birth.
So nobody came into the world. We know it's possible. Yahushua could just, that's possible. But through the, he actually went through the loins of Joseph. He came through Joseph. Just it wasn't if you magical Yahushua actually. He was nourished. He came out. He was nourished, and then he was brought forth, and he grew. You got something?
Khan, I wanted to bring the Salakia,
See,
the offspring of David.
yeah.
With this revelation.
And that's let me try.
Oh, Khan.
You got it?
20. I think it's 20. Salakia. Oh, yeah, I got it. Khan, just to further expound on what you said, how, Yahweh Shai, he came in the flesh, Revelation 22 and 16. I, Yahweh Shai, and this is in red, so this is Yahweh Shai speaking. I, Yahweh Shai, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright and morning star.
The root and offspring. He came through the loins of David. That genealogy, he came through David, bro. There wasn't any, that's clear.
And also, there's no lineage in the spirit world,
Angels don't have genealogy.
You can't say, Michael has a son, this is the son of Michael, There's no lineage, you're perfect,
Khan. The Matthew? Yeah, Khan.
Chapter 1?
Yeah, I think you want to start earlier or go to the... start at the 18th verse, Lucky.
Khan. Matthew 1 and 18. Now the birth of Yahushua HaMashiach was on this wise. When as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph.
We can get that word again, because that word is, it's key. I'm gonna grab it. Matthew, just the book of Matthew. And again in the Greek it's
Strong's G 3423 Menes Tuo.
So that word says to woo her and ask her in marriage, to be promised in marriage, be betrothed. You can't read that?
Matthew 1 and 18. Now the birth of Yahushua HaMashiach was in this wise. When as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, before they came together,
Uh-huh.
she was found with child of the Holy Ghost.
Okay, read on. One more.
Khan. Verse 19.
Khan.
Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privily.
Khan, because Joseph didn't want to bring shame upon Mary's family, you know, because they actually, before you go into a woman, there's actually in the ancient world there was actually a feast held, you know, a ceremony that you had to go through. We can actually get that in Matthew the 18th chapter, when Jacob worked for his, you know, Salaki, Genesis. The 20. Let me get that real quick. Slovakia.
You found?
Hmm?
You found?
No. Slovakia. Oh yeah. Slovakia.
So, you know, basically Joseph had sex with Mary before the ceremony. You know? So that's why, you know, he put her away privily, because he didn't want to bring shame onto the family, you know?
Hey, you can grab it. 29?
29?
And 21.
Genesis 29 and verse 21. And Jacob said unto Laban,
So Jacob had to work for his wife. If you go back to, if you read that story, Jacob had to work for his wife, you know, because the father didn't want to give him, you know, what's that? The dowry, you know. You had to, the dowry. We can actually get that definition actually, Baba Kasha. That word dowry. You got it? Yeah, come. Yeah. The word dowry, a gift of money or property by a man to or for his bride. You know, so it's a payment for your bride, your wife. You know. And back Joseph had his dowry was what he worked. He worked for the father, you know, and the father got a huge amount of increase. You know, his crops, everything.
Jacob.
Jacob. You know, for Laban. He worked for Laban. You know, and then when his years were fulfilled, you know, read that again.
Genesis 29 and 21. And when Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go and unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her.
So what? There was a feast first held, and then when the feast had ended, it was what? Jacob was brought into the chamber, the bed chambers, and his wife was brought to him. You know, but then it wasn't really his wife. It wasn't the wife he wanted. It was, you know, the older one. And going back to that, Matthew,
Matthew 1 and 18.
I think 19.
19. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example.
Right, Khan. So Joseph didn't want to make her a public example because what? He didn't want to bring shame upon the family, because she was also the token of virginity, which is when you go when that feast is held, and then these customs when the feast is held, and then you go into the bed chamber, and it's actually the sheet, and if the woman be found to tell if she was a virgin or not, is if there was blood on the sheet, you know, for her first time having sex, there would be blood on her sheet, you know. We can actually get that Deuteronomy the 22nd chapter, just so we, you know. It says scriptures say prove all things.
22nd.
22nd and 28.
Con. Deuteronomy 22 and verse 28.
Mm-hmm.
If a man find a damsel that is a virgin,
Mm-hmm.
which is not betrothed,
Which not promised to,
and lay hold on her,
and take her, yeah.
and lie with her,
Mm-hmm.
and they be found, that the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver,
Con.
and she shall be his wife, because he hath humbled her.
Con.
He may not put her away all his days.
Con. Read on.
A man shall not take his father's wife, nor discover his father's skirt.
I think that was it on that.
Yeah, that was kind of.
But the point there being what? If you take a woman, you know, and if you take a virgin, a woman that's not promised to anybody, you know, you gotta pay the father. You gotta pay, you know, shekels. But there was actually another example I was looking for. I think that's we had.
Oh, kind. I think it's a verse. So like, 13.
Let me see. Yeah, Khan, Salaki. Yeah, that's the one. Khan.
Deuteronomy 22 and verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
If any man take a wife and go and unto her and hate her and give occasion of speech against her.
Right. So if you have that feast, you know, and the father brings you the wife into the chamber and you don't like her, you think she wasn't a virgin, you know, go on.
And bring up an evil name upon her and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid.
You know, so he's trying to, you know, like finesse. Yeah, go on.
Then shall the father of the damsel and the mother take and bring forth the token of the damsel's virginity.
You can't. So what was that token? That first time that, that blood on the sheet, if you will, you know, because read that again, Baba Kasha.
Khan, verse 15. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take
a bit up.
Khan.
For man, 13.
Khan. Salakia. Deuteronomy 22 and 13. If any man take a wife or go and unto her and hate her and give occasion of speech against her,
meaning you don't like her, you know, or you might just lose your interest in her. You know what I mean? You know?
And bring up an evil name upon her and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city and the gate. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hated her.
You know, there's more?
Khan. And lo, he hath given occasion of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter of maid, so basically a virgin, you know. And yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity, and they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city.
Okay, so Khan, the point that we wanted to get there was what? That token. The token is when you go into a woman for the first time and she bleeds. You know, the sheet will be full of blood, and the parents of that mother would actually take hold on that and, you know, and take possession of that.
Yeah, of the woman.
Yeah, you know, and, you know, Khan, you know, and that will be proof that she was, you know.
Evidence.
Yeah, and that's that man's property now, you know. That's proof, you know, Khan. So where we at?
Matthew?
Yeah, I think we're...
Privily?
Yeah.
Khan.
19.
Yeah. Matthew 1 and 19. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privily. So, Khan, I think that was in that.
That's it? What about more? Is there more? Yeah, that's what I'm...
Khan.
So, You know, that goes to, hopefully that was edifying. We proved that the virgin birth is just in modern terms, it's just a what? And the way Christianity puts it is just a cunningly devised fable. It's a well thought out, story that's just made up, So we hope that was edifying. And we want to we want to finish by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kodash. Once again, double honors to our teachers and elders, the head apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well. So, shalom.
Shalom.